You're listening to the Night Demon Network. Go to nightdemon.net/subscriber to unlock more exclusive content.
Hello and welcome to the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast. I'm your host Nesbit, and today we continue our deep dive into the history of Night Demon. So in summer of 2013, and with the band now with a physical release, the Night Demon EP, out on vinyl and CD, the momentum that the band has is ramping up into overdrive. But along with this activity come some major changes. This is Night Demon, the early years.
Lost in the dark, between heaven and hell. Inverted crosses on the wall. A fallen angel comes up to you. Says, follow me, your master calls. His name is Satan. He rules the underworld.
So, towards the end of the summer of 2013, Night Demon has a full head of steam and getting a lot of attention very quickly. Around this time, Decibel magazine runs its first ad for the Night Demon EP, and even more reviews of the EP start to come out, including this one from Sea of Tranquility.
Hi, I'm Simon Bray from the Sea of Tranquility website. I first came across Night Demon in 2013 when I reviewed the Night Demon EP. Night Demon are a bit of a shit-kicking metal band, and I am very much a fan. Here's what I wrote. Occasionally record companies actually say something not hyperbolic and sensible, so step forward Shadow Kingdom Records, who put forth this about Night Demon. British metallic stylings reminiscent of Angel Witch, Raven and Iron Maiden are kicked into overdrive with an edgier, grittier dose of American venom. Consider Night Demon, that's in capitals, mandatory listening for any new wave of British heavy metal fan. Yep, that just about covers it. Night Demon live in 1979, 1980, and if that's not your bag, you'll hate this. If that is what you dig, then you'll be metaphorically creaming yourselves all over the floor at this one. The Chalice, Drink from the Chalice, is my favourite song on offer, but for any Raven or Angel Witch fans, this EP will be manna from heaven. They'll even do an embroidered patch if you get it from their website. I told you it was 1979 all over again, didn't I?
So like I said, right away the band grabs attention with this EP. It really hits a chord with the metal press. So here's another review from Grim Tower.
Alright everyone, it's the Grim Lord here, and this is a review for the Night Demon EP, which was released in 2013. This is a review I wrote years ago about the EP release. So let's go. Night Demon are an old school throwback that sounds like they'd be a fun band to see live. This EP only contains about 4 songs and runs less than 20 minutes, but it's certainly well played. Their influence in this band I'm probably too young to name, but that doesn't mean I can't point them out. Let me give it a shot though. Let's see, Night Demon 347 makes me think of Motorhead a great deal, but with a much more clean and less mature vocal approach. The band also showed that they've got their guitar chops down as the song explodes with powerful melodies and a strong solo. The Chalice 313 reminds me of something I've heard from Merciful Fate, I think. You might even go with Danzig. Yeah, definitely Danzig influence here. I'm serious, folks. This is a good one. The chorus here is very catchy and the vocal approach fits perfectly with the eerie verse melodies. This is one you could play over and over, but I can say that about the whole album, really. Ancient Evil picks up the speed a little bit. I'm sure you could place the influence right away, but it's definitely steeped in early thrash and classic heavy metal. They do a good job of revitalizing it, though. Ritual 343 is about the same. It's definitely along the lines of classic thrash metal, new wave of British heavy metal, that whole scene there. Take that sentence and apply it to the whole album, and you've got the picture of what Night Demon is. And there's not one fucking thing wrong with that. Yes, we've heard it before, but it certainly doesn't hurt or cause any damage to the ears if we hear it again. Night Demon is definitely a band for those who like to keep it old school. These guys deliver with each and every song, and even though they aren't and don't want to reinvent the wheel for this kind of music. Remember, there are young ones on this planet who are still getting initiated into the world of metal. This is the stuff you hand to a bunch of scene kids who think that Black Veil Brides are a metal band. No, children, you exclaim, this is metal.
So it's really amazing how having a physical release really kickstarted attention to the band. Having a physical product out was really kind of a turning point for Night Demon. Here's Jarvis Leatherby.
In late June or early July, our EP finally came out on CD on Shadow Kingdom Records and on the 7-inch on Reinig Records. So we officially had something out physically, something that the press could start talking about, something that the fans could have tangibly in their hands. And it was great. I mean, we started to get a lot of reviews. And I remember playing a lot of shows that summer, just, again, sprinkled around the region. We had some heat on us, and a lot of people were asking us to do shows. And at that time, we were just doing whatever we could. If we were asked to play a show, we just did it. The Heartbeats were still doing some shows here and there, as well as the fucking Wrath. But, you know, we'd get called down to play at Orange County at the Riff House, which was a great all-ages venue. We did a lot of stuff here in Ventura locally. Our friend Scott Portia, who's a longtime punk rock promoter, does this event every year for his birthday, Porchocalypse, and we played that. Just a lot of stuff like that. But the cool thing is that, again, the EP was starting to get reviews all over the world. And, you know, it was coming a lot from small webzines or blogs and physical printed fanzines out of Europe and even some in the States. We didn't really get a lot of mainstream media attention. Well, I mean, we still don't. But as far as like the bigger metal mags and stuff, it was hard because our EP wasn't able to be reviewed in a lot of those because it was an EP. The formula or the format back then, at least, was you had to have a full-length album out to get a feature or to get a serious review. But we did end up getting some stuff, and it was just here it begins. You know, here was the whirlwind that would become our lives in this band called Night Demon.
So through the summer, Night Demon keeps playing and promoting, and they released their first press release on September 4th, 2013, which breaks some pretty exciting news if you're a Night Demon fan. So I have the press release in front of me here. This is all available in the subscriber section on nightdemon.net if you want to see it yourself. But it says, for immediate release, Oxnard's own Night Demon schedule dates and prepare to enter the studio. Having just released their EP via Shadow Kingdom Records, Oxnard, California's own Night Demon announced one-off shows and prepare to enter the studio to record their first full-length album. There's a list of tour dates listed here. I'm not going to read them out. But there's shows supporting Havoc, shows supporting Diamond Head and Raven, which we will get into in a little bit. But then it says, Night Demon will be entering the studio in late September to record their highly anticipated debut full-length album to be released on a yet-to-be-determined label. So here we have a band that was supposed to be a one-off, you know, an EP with 4 songs, but now they're officially declaring they have major plans for future releases. So the band is full-on and riding this wave of momentum at this point. And with the CD released and in stores, the reviews really pour in at this point. Metal Assault says, as long as LA gives us bands like Night Demon, we have nothing to worry about and plenty to rejoice. Metal Odyssey, best you pick up this metal offering from Night Demon because it's invitingly raw, loud, and legit true metal through and through. Melting album reviews. As far as debuts go, you can't get much better than this. MSN Entertainment. Night Demon don't just play homage to new wave of British heavy metal. They capture that sound impeccably. So I have a document here with dozens of reviews, and I'm not going to quote them all, but there's a lot of media attention on the band. And around this time, Jarvis is asked to do a radio interview with Robbie Stevens from the Rock and Metal Zone show on Sonoma State Radio.
So calling in right now to discuss that EP that I had just recently reviewed this summer. Some killer music, people. I'm telling you, this band, they're keeping heavy metal going with some killer music. I can't stop repeating myself. It's such great music. And Jarvis Leatherby, how you doing, dude?
Good, man. Thanks a lot for the compliments. Thanks for having me.
Well, again, here, this summer, I can tell people I reviewed a lot of bands, and for some reason, I kept reviewing a lot of bands from Italy and Europe, and to finally get an American band that just brought it with those 4 songs on that album, how has it been, really? Because those 4 songs, usually you expect there to be a lot of music, but it doesn't matter. It's the quality. How's it been, the reaction you've been getting from different reviewers, fans, people that you're close to? How they like the music, and also yourself? How have you liked how it's come out?
Yeah, well, I love it, but the reaction from everybody else worldwide has been really kind of overwhelming. Like when we set out to do this, I mean, we recorded that thing in one evening. So we just kind of went in live and did it. The band had only been together for about 2 or 3 weeks. We had written those songs within like 4 jam sessions, and we just kind of had an idea to go in and kind of, just write the 4 best metal songs we could write by just going for it. And that's kind of how it came out,
And I got to bring up here, what was interesting is I just recently was referred to Clawhammer PR, and they gave me this little description of you guys, and I hadn't heard much about it, and I was shocked to see you guys are from the Southern California area. Is that right? You're from Ventura?
Yeah.
So it took me by surprise. I was like, okay, because I'm up here in the North Bay, I haven't heard too much, and then just started listening to music. You guys were one of the first bands that I listened to off the email I got from this PR company, and again, it was just really good music. So right away, I said this will be the first album that I review. And the 4 songs, I'm telling you, you guys really did pay attention to detail.
Wow. Well, thanks, man. I mean, that's good coming from you. From the band perspective, I think there's a lot of mistakes on there, but I mean, that's kind of what makes it cool. I mean, like we kind of went for it, but definitely in the writing, I mean, if you grow up listening to this kind of music, we weren't trying to come out and reinvent the wheel and try to do anything that was new and groundbreaking, to be honest.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and that's okay. We're comfortable with that. We just play the kind of rock and roll that we like. But as far as reaction from the public, it's been great. I mean, we just kind of threw it out there as a demo, and then it got it's an official, cataloged release now on a label as an EP, and it's going good. I mean, really, the street date is, just happened August 20th, so there's still some life in it. We're going into the studio next month to do a full length. So by the time this steam runs out on these 4 songs, we'll be ready to put out a record. So.
And I'm sure the anticipation, people hearing that are, I'm sure, excited. And again, you hear a young and hungry band on this EP, which I like. That's what I understand a lot of bands are not going to reinvent. To me, I've always said it's pretty much been done. Sabbath has done it in a way, you could say.
Yeah.
So what I hear, though, it's the drive. It's to keep making good music, keep the scenes going, too. And I was going to ask you, because up here in the Bay, to me, it's very selective. Once in a while, you'll have bands performing. The big band up here is a band that, I don't know if you know, Ghoul. They're a band that dresses up and kills.
Yeah, the Tank Crimes band.
The Tank Crimes. Yeah. So to hear you guys, I kind of want to know from your perspective, how is the metal scene down in L.A.?
It's weird. We're an hour north. We're like 60 miles north of LA.
Okay.
But I will answer that question though. The metal scene in LA is better than ever. We do very well in LA, and that's just nobody does well in LA. That's the land of broken dreams, man.
Exactly.
People grow up paying thousands of dollars to get their band to play the Whiskey and open for some has-been, So
like LA Guns.
It's just oversaturated, just like any major market, and people just don't go out anymore like they used to,
That's very true.
But LA has been great. Like there's this whole underground metal scene coming up. Like it's very close community, and like they come out and support, and they're into their bands. The bands that they like, and the bands that they don't, they don't. You know, it kind of feels like how, not quite to the same degree, but, you know, kind of in the early 80s of what you guys had going on up there is kind of happening in L.A. That's the best way I could describe it. There's a lot of thrash metal bands out there, you know.
Exactly, that's true.
There's a scene, you know. People know stuff. You know, the good bands always kind of rise to the top, but none of the bands are at this level where they're just complete, like, superstardom, you know. So you got the bands like our buddies, like Holy Grail and Ex Mortis, and like bands like this that are like, they're touring with Anthrax and Testament and whoever, but they have a home base here in LA, and they still play regular shows here, you know, to like reasonable, you know, to like packed clubs. So it's got a good energy to it right now, you know, until it gets oversaturated and then people hate it again, you know.
That's true. Yeah, people get tired and start listening to something else, but who knows? I still think this is good music, and I want to bring up here, you guys, which I find very interesting, your influences. You talk about you have a very strong new wave British heavy metal sound. I can hear it on the EP. And you guys will be playing with two bands that I'm sure were huge influences on you guys growing up. You'll be playing with Diamond Head and Raven.
Yeah.
2 shows.
We're playing 2 shows with them. We're doing LA and Vegas with them.
I mean, how's that going on? For God's sakes, that must be like explosion right now.
I mean, this is the kind of thing that's like, you know, when we started this band, I mean, one thing I would always say about Night Demon is it's not a super serious band, but it's definitely no joke, you know? But now it's getting pretty serious, and there is a lot of pressure on us to, you know, write a good record, which we feel we have. But, you know, within lieu of that, with, you know, starting the band, if you would have told me that we were going to even play a show ever with Diamond Head and Raven, I would just, you know, kill me now. I mean, this is great. We're pumped, and, you know, if the band ended after this, I mean, I have to call it a success, you know?
That's something positive,
in the tradition of new wave or British heavy metal bands, who knows, maybe we'll just put out 1 EP and that's it.
And then people will discover you many years later, and then you'll have a revival all of a sudden. You'll be, coming out with a movie like Anvil.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Totally.
Just go figure there.
Yeah.
But
yeah, those are great. Those are great. Between those two and playing Keep It True Fest in Germany next year, we're booked on that.
I was going to bring that up. That's pretty big. You'll be playing overseas. And by that time, you'll have the new album out, maybe? Do you think?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So that could bring in a huge fan base. Yeah,
well, let's hope so. I mean, we have, you know, we're going to go in and do this record, and we're going to see where all the chips fall. Right now, you know, we're with the EP has primarily come out like on Shadow Kingdom Records.
Yeah,
which is a great label. Manila Road, Pagan Altar, those bands on it. But, you know, we've been getting, like, a lot of other bigger labels have actually been buying records from us directly, which is kind of funny. You know, like, it's strange. Like, I think it's great.
Really?
But,
who? Can you name a couple?
What's that?
Can you name a couple?
I really shouldn't.
Okay, yeah, let's. We'll keep that under wraps until the time comes.
Yeah, I mean, I can't.
I understand.
I can't, but
I understand.
But, maybe off air, sure. But
okay.
But I just don't want to leave anybody out there to dry, you know. But I mean,
I understand.
Hey, that's really cool that a lot of these big labels, like, you know, I mean, I don't know if that means that they want to do something or they want to just check out the band, but they're supporting an independent band, metal band, doing its own thing, and I think that's great. I mean, that's the best sign of appreciation that I've ever gotten, like playing music, as far as from the industry. You know, I mean, it's good. They're really supporting it. They're buying our records from us because they want it for their own listening enjoyment, you know? So that's good.
Well, exactly. The exposure to me right now with this, it's great because you guys have posted, I've seen pictures on your Facebook page. I mean, your album's actually in stores.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's bands. This is a really cool thing that you have hard copies available. And I really like what you did here because I bring this up, the importance. A friend and I did a YouTube video, actually, where we talked about the importance of physical copies of music. You guys, sure enough, have a 7-inch for this thing, for God's sakes. People can go out and buy that.
But we just worked out a deal for a run of cassettes.
This band has cassettes now, people. They have it all. CDs.
Just all formats. You know, you have to make your music available for the format that the people want. I mean, a lot of the old school stuff is back, and I think it's great.
This is
for a
great.
classic band with or a classic sounding band, I should say.
Classic sounding band that I'm telling you, people, if you not check this band out, I'll play some tracks for you. I wanted to bring up here now, you guys have a logo. It's on the video for the Night Demon. And I wanted to bring this up here. It's very similar to the Desolation Angels logo. Have you ever heard of it? Did I catch you there? Are you guys fans of Desolation Angels?
Well, okay, so here it is. Here's the real story.
Okay.
There's a couple of our diehard fans that know this, but never have I spoke about it. And I've never been asked in an official interview. So here you go. Here's the groundbreaking news, which will probably break us too. There's a book. There's a novel that came out, like an occult horror novel that came out in the 70s called Tainted by Jack Shackelford. And it's a British, on the cover of the book it says, a nightmarish novel of demonic possession. Anyway, that image is from that book.
Okay.
Okay, so we liked it so much, we wanted to put it on our backdrop. We thought it was cool.
It's very cool.
Yeah, so Desolation Angels,
it's a great band.
I don't know this for sure, but they took it from that. I mean, for sure, and they altered it. And great record, but it's not good the way that they altered it. I mean, if you look at the original, it just doesn't stand up to it. So that's where we got it from, probably the same place they did. We have reached out to the artist to license this from him, to actually offer him money. But I think we were going back and forth, and then he never got back to us, so we ended up just doing it on a piece of promo, basically.
Gotcha.
We've made some shirts with it, but, we usually sell those for cost, just kind of to keep it cool. But, I mean, we don't plan, that's probably not something that we'll run with after this record comes out. We've developed a mascot, if you will, a character who is the Night Demon, and he's got his own story, and you'll see him on the cover of the first album.
I'm telling people, this is something I like about this band. They have characters. They're going back to like Iron Maiden and Megadeth. They actually have people that you can associate the band with. Just got to put a guy on stage dressed up.
Yeah, even the guy on the priest on the cover, holding the chalice on the cover of our EP. He is a character as well. You'll find out about. There's songs about that character on this upcoming record. So,
some information to keep the people interested. Definitely,
yeah.
Great. And I'm gonna quickly bring up here. I think this will probably be one of the last questions, man. Bay Area. Do you guys plan to come up here sometime and play some shows?
Man, you know what? We really do. We really do want to do that.
It's tough. I understand.
It's interesting that we haven't really, not too many people from that area have really reached out to us, like in the way of a show offer or anything like that.
Okay.
But I mean, we'll do it. We're close enough. I mean, it's a 6-hour drive for us. So,
yeah.
I know there's stuff going on at Eli's in Oakland and stuff like that. I mean, really what our ideal situation right now in the Bay Area would be to come up and play with a band, with a local, like in the metal scene, Yeah,
that's what I was going to pretty much say.
Yeah, I mean, we could come up on our own and we would, but that's kind of what we got going on. So any of you bands out there listening, if you want us to come up and play a show, please hit us up. We will definitely be there. nightdemon.net, or you can find us on Facebook, and we'll be there.
We will get the word out here, and people, I'm telling you, check out this band, like their Facebook page, and if you're listening right now and you are a label or promoter in this area, let's get them up here. Let's get this music out here, because from what I heard from these 4 songs, there's promise, people, and it's, again, classic heavy metal, and this is what this show's all about. Hard rock, heavy metal, new, old. And this is the stuff that I gotta tell you, man, it's great music. Straight up great music. So,
cool, man. Thanks, Robbie.
Jarvis, thanks for calling in. Keep up the good work, and I can't wait for that new album, dude.
All right, man. Take it easy.
So, a few days later, Jarvis does an interview with Nathan Hernandez of Metal Warfare. So aside from a 10 out of 10 EP review, there's an interview, and there's more news on a new album. So Jarvis says, "We will be recording 9 brand new songs along with a couple of cover songs just to have. We will be re-recording some of the material off the EP. Not sure yet what will make it on the record. The EP has gotten a lot of exposure so far, so we're treating it as an official release. My best guess is that you will most likely hear at least one of them on the record." And then he goes on to say, "We have very specific goals. We have an entire timeline of what we want to be doing for the next 2.5 years. People who go with the flow of things get exactly that. We want to create the flow, create our own destiny, and set high goals for ourselves. Our fans are fantastic, and they deserve the best presentation we can give them." So lots of attention on the band at this point. But this EP, it made a mark right away, and I think there was this hunger and this need for this style of metal. And Night Demon came along at just the right time to give it to people.
When it was time to mail out the EP, we had everything in our hands. We were selling everything through our website direct to customers, besides the stuff that we had in distribution. And we had put together a pretty cool little bundle with the 7-inch, the CD, a patch that was only limited to 50 that Reinig made, and a couple of the first stickers. And we put handwritten notes, which we still do to this day when people buy stuff when we can, when we're home. But we ended up doing a couple album release shows. So one I know we did in July in Orange County, which was at the Riff House, which was a really great place. You know, a lot of kids this day, and even back in 2013, don't really listen to rock or metal. It's not a mainstream thing. But this was an all-ages venue where it was just basically all kids. There was hardly any adults that ever came to shows at this place. And it was just fucking awesome because this reminded me of who I was, who we were when we were that age, when we were like, you know, just getting into high school and stuff like this, or in junior high. And we were, even then, even in the 90s, we were the outcasts. You know, rap had become really big. And I mean, you still had mainstream music that had a guitar in it, you know, but today that's kind of unheard of. But, you know, it was great because we looked at all these kids and we're like, man, these kids are exactly like us. And what they were doing, you know, being into metal, I mean, that was totally on the fringe for the, you know, the societal norms that they were coming from. So we really made it a point to bond with a lot of these people. And a lot of these kids have grown up and they still come to see us play, but we know everybody by name. And I mean, we'd have fucking packed houses at this place, and people were just so excited to have that youthful energy for us. Really, really, it was just so important to us. So we did a show there for the all ages kids. And then it wasn't until I think September that we ended up doing an official release show in our hometown of Ventura. And we did that at the Bombay. And, you know, I mean, it was cool. I remember we brought Ex Mortis down for that show. And some other friends of ours, Brilliant Machine, they were like a kind of like a Black Flag, but stonery Black Flag. They were from Ventura. And then we had this Iron Maiden tribute from Oxnard Open called Praxium. They were the absolute worst Maiden tribute you'd ever heard in your life. We were so excited about it. I don't know why. Probably because we were going to hear Maiden songs, but it was god awful. I mean, God bless those guys for trying, but it actually added a lot of comedy to that for us. But we did the show, and you know, it went well. I will say there are some events that we need to talk about here that led up to this, and we didn't know this until after this performance, but this was the very last show that John Crerar played with Night Demon as the drummer.
So that brings us to September 14th, 2013, which is a very important date and a very important show for Night Demon. Night Demon's hometown EP release show. So they'd done a release show in LA, but here's one for the hometown at the Bombay in Ventura, and it would be John Crerar's last show with Night Demon. In fact, the events that would lead to him leaving, they were already in motion. But at the time of this show, he was very much the drummer, and for what would be his last show in Night Demon, he kills it. It's a great show. The band sets up at a packed venue in their hometown at the Bombay. Something else to note, Armand John Anthony, future Night Demon guitarist, was behind the board doing sound, as captured on the live recording of this show at the pre-show sound check. So you can hear Armand and Jarvis bantering back and forth. That was during the sound check. We'll make this whole show available, the audio of it, in the subscriber section on nightdemon.net if you want to hear the entire show. So in that press release that I read out earlier, the band, they teased a new album. And if you look at the set list, you can see a ton of new material. So you get a mix of all new material and the 4 EP songs. So, you know, this was an EP release party, remember? So they played all 4 of those, but there's a lot of new material in this set list. So they open the set with Ritual.
This is Brad on the lead guitar.
They follow up that song with a brand new track, and again Jarvis teases a full-length album that's imminent.
A lot of cool things happening for Night Demon lately. We're doing a new record in a couple weeks. This song is off it. Here's a brand new one. This song is called Satan. Lost in the dark, between heaven and hell. Burning crosses on the wall. Falling angel comes up to you. Says, follow me, your master foe. His name is Satan. He rules the underworld. He goes by Satan, and he's coming for your soul. You're gonna burn at the seventh gate. Drink from the chalice like before. Six, how many times do I have to run? Want some mercy on my soul? Come on now, Satan. He rules the underworld.
So they follow up Satan with another brand new song, which has become a classic Night Demon song, Heavy Metal Heat.
This next song is another new one off the record. This is called Heavy Metal Heat.
So an EP track followed by two brand new tracks before they dip back into the EP with Ancient Evil. From there, another new song that would end up on the future full-length album, Livin' Dangerous, which really shows off John Crerar's drumming in what would turn out to be his last show with Night Demon. Up next, you guessed it, another new track, Run For Your Life. The song that started out as Run For Your Lives, now with its final title and an explanation of the song by Jarvis.
Alright, we played a show in Highland Park. Some fucking homeboy came and opened fire and almost shot me in the fucking head. True story, this song's about it. This is Run For Your Life!
Next up, yet another new track, Save Me Now. So you're getting the live debut of a bunch of new Night Demon songs at this show, including Save Me Now. Jarvis calls Owen Busey from Army of Freshmen up on stage for background vocals and keyboards. It's kind of interesting since Owen Busey would end up on the album track of Save Me Now when the full length eventually comes out. Also kind of funny, someone in the audience yells, Sirith Ungle. So this is years before Jarvis would eventually reunite the band and end up playing bass for them. So there's a lot of foreshadowing going on in this pre-song banter.
Hey, where's Owen Busey? Is Owen Busey in the house? I heard Sirith Ungle out there. Who said that? I think we're the only metal band for Sirith Ungle. We know the drummer Robbie, he's a big supporter of us. This one goes out for Robbie. He's not here, he's probably working on his Ferrari or something. Anyway, so this is another new song off our new record. We're playing a lot of new shit tonight. This is a love song about the devil. And this is our fucking hit, alright? So we brought our buddy Owen to play keyboards and make this a proper fucking hit, alright? Are you ready, my man? Yo, get Owen's mic up, yeah? Armo? Yeah, what? You got nothing. Owen's mic. Oh, yeah. Hey, 1, 2. There we go. All right, we're doing it all now. You boys ready? This song is called Save Me Now. Every breathing, nothing is in sight. I try to make my
band then ends the set with the staple, The Chalice, and a cover of Diamond Head's Lightning to the Nations, which was also a staple at the time. But you can really see how by this point, Night Demon's set has become less and less dependent on covers, now that they had so much inspiration and so many new songs. And a Night Demon show wouldn't be complete without finishing off with their namesake song, Night Demon. So closing with Night Demon in what would end up being the last song played by John Crerar with Night Demon before turmoil leads him to quitting the band, which we will get into in depth next week.
I think a lot of accountability here for John Crerar not being in the band anymore falls directly on the shoulders of myself and Brent Woodward. It made us handle this situation the worst way you could possibly ever handle it.
What's going on? You guys jamming with someone without telling me?
So that's all next week when we continue with Night Demon, the early years. Be sure to check out the subscriber section on nightdemon.net for full audio of the show, show posters, audio interviews with Night Demon from this time, set lists, show posters. It's an audio and visual companion to the Night Demon Heavy Metal podcast, so be sure to check it out. And until next time, this is Nesbitt signing off.
Save me now, 'cause I'm losing all control. Save me now, death is knocking at my door. Save me now, Lucifer has got a hold. Save me now, 'cause I'm losing all control. Save me now, 'cause I'm losing all control. Save me now, death is knocking at my door. Save me now, Lucifer has got a hold. Save me now, 'cause I'm losing all control.
Thanks for listening to the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast. Head over to nightdemon.net, click on the subscriber tab, and sign up to access exclusive weekly bonus content. If you would like to donate to support the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast, you can do so through PayPal at paypal.me/nightdemonmetal. Additionally, if you have not already done so, please subscribe, like, rate, and review the show on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts.
All hail, Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast listeners. This is Dusty Squires chiming in to tell you about my brand new signature sticks from the London Drumstick Company. I've dreamt of having my very own drumsticks ever since I was a wee lad, and LDC made that a possibility for me. Founded in 2016 in London, England, the birthplace of heavy metal, the London Drumstick Company has trailblazed a path through the music industry and taken the drummer world by storm. When I met them for the first time, they knew their product was going to withstand the beatings of a Night Demon show. They took the time to work with me on getting everything just right. The balance and weight of my sticks are the same no matter what, and the durability is bar none the best I've ever had. I know my sticks will last through the set night after night. I'm truly honored to work with a company that caters to their players the way LDC does. Their innovation and attention to detail is what separates them from the rest of the stick makers out there. Their custom stick sleeves are unbelievable and really make the entire presentation complete. Wait until you see the design they came up with for me. It blew my mind and was a surprise to say the least. They have all kinds of amazing swag, including hoodies, t-shirts, drummer shorts, drum keys, stick bags, towels, face masks, practice pads, and much, much more. Even if you're not a drummer, you can be a part of Demon history and order my brand new signature sticks direct from their website. How cool is that? And to top it off, the London Drumstick Company are giving an exclusive offer to the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast listeners. Go to londondrumsticks.co.uk and receive a 15% store-wide discount using promo code DEMONSTICKS. All capital letters, no spaces, Demon Sticks. DEMONSTICKS. I can't thank everyone there enough for the opportunity to be a part of their family and for them trusting me with their amazing products. See you metal maniacs on the road very soon. And yes, the wood chips will be flying.
Greetings, boils and ghouls. This is your comrade, the Crypt Keeper here, reporting dead from the sanctuary of the strange. Tonight's macabre myth is a fright-filled feature, one overflowing with monsters, madness, and magic.
Visit our website at monstersmadnessandmagic.com to stay up to date on all the dark dealings within the sanctuary of the strange. Enjoy the show.
Hey Metalheads, I'm Mark and I host the Metal Forge. Let me tell you about the show. The Metal Forge features the best underground metal from all over the world. We spend every week with a different artist with interviews, in-depth conversations, and most of all, the music. We also feature audience interactivity where you can submit your questions to the upcoming guests. New episodes are out every Friday at noon Eastern Time at metalforgeradio.com or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Want to know what's going on in the world of music? Then tune in to the Nothing Shocking Podcast, a non-genre based, all-ages friendly rock and roll program. Join us weekly for interviews with all your favorite rock stars from the mainstream to the underground. You can find us at nothingshocking.libsyn.com or anywhere you download podcasts.
Okay, metalheads, you've been complaining that there has not been a channel that plays all of the heavy metal videos from past, present, and future for years and years at this point. Well, that time is over. Heavy Metal Television is back. HeavyMetalTelevision.net is the website. Go there. You can see videos playing 24/7, 365, all the time, all the best from the old school, the new school, and everything in between. Check it out, HeavyMetalTelevision.net. It is where the metal is.